I guess this is my first time posting something like this, but I'm honestly sitting here in my apartment at 2 a.m., still shaking, and I need to get this out. I'm not even sure if this is the right place, but I need to vent and maybe get some validation. Or just see if I'm actually losing my mind or if this is as insane as it feels. This all started with a Venmo request. Why? Not a text, not a call, just a random Venmo request from my mom for $2,400 with the caption for your brother's graduation party. Pay fast. Not even a hey, can you help out? Or we're all chipping in. Just straight up, pay fast. Like I'm some kind of ATM machine that she can just demand money from whenever she feels like it. I literally laughed out loud when I saw it because it was so out of nowhere. I was actually having a pretty good day, had just gotten home from work, ordered some pizza, was planning to binge watch some Netflix. Then my phone buzzes with this notification, and suddenly my entire evening is ruined. I hadn't even talked to her in maybe a month, maybe more. Last time we spoke, she was already furious at me for not coming home for Easter. But here's the thing, I had legitimate reasons. I was dealing with a major project deadline at work. I'd already made plans with friends. And honestly, the thought of spending a weekend walking on eggshells around my family's drama just felt exhausting. But apparently, choosing my mental health over family obligation makes me the villain in their story. For context, my family's always been kind of traditional, I guess, but not in a cute way. More like toxic patriarchal expectations disguised as family values traditional. My little brother Ryan, yeah, that's his real name, is 3 years younger, just graduated from some fancy private college that cost more than my annual salary. And my mom acts like he's literally the second coming of Christ. I'm the older one, but I never really fit the mold they had planned for me. I didn't go to the same prestigious university as everyone else in the family. I went to a state school on academic scholarships because I actually had to work for my education. I didn't join the same country club or Greek organizations. I didn't date the right people from the right families. I didn't major in business or law like they expected. Instead, I chose my own path. I moved out at 20, got a job in graphic design, paid my own rent, bought my own groceries, handled my own laundry. I'm not some wild rebel throwing my life away. I just didn't want to be another carbon copy of my Uncle Robert, who works in finance, drives a BMW he can't afford, and talks about golf like it's a personality trait. But to my mom, not following their predetermined life script basically means I'm a complete failure as a human being. She's said it to my face more than once, usually during family gatherings when she's had a few glasses of wine and feels the need to share her honest thoughts about my life choices. But this time was next level, even for her. So I see the Venmo request and I'm like, is this a joke? Like, is this some kind of test? Is she seeing if I'll just blindly send money without question? I take a screenshot and send it to my best friend Marcus, who responds with 3 crying laughing emojis, and your family is unhinged, bro. I text her back, am I even invited to this party? Because, honestly, I haven't heard a single word about it. I know they're doing something big because Ryan's been posting countdown stories on Instagram for weeks. You know, those obnoxious 7 days until the big day. Posts with party emojis. But I never got an invite, not even a casual mention in a text. I'm not even in the family group chat anymore. They kicked me out last year after some drama with my cousin Taylor when I called out someone. Racist comment my aunt made during Thanksgiving. She doesn't reply for like an hour and 15 minutes. I know because I kept checking my phone like an idiot, wondering if maybe she'd realize how ridiculous this whole situation was and actually explain what was going on. Maybe there was some kind of misunderstanding. Maybe she'd apologize for the demanding tone and we could have an actual conversation about it. Instead, I get this absolute wall of text, and I'm talking like a novel-length rant that took up my entire phone screen. Just her completely losing her mind. She says I'm a fucking failure who should have never been born, that I'm selfish and ungrateful, that I owe the family for all the trouble I've caused over the years, and that the absolute least I can do is pay for my brother's party, since I'd never show up for anything that matters anyway. She says I'm not invited, and that I shouldn't be fucking delusional enough to think I would be. She says if I don't pay, I'm dead to her. Like, actually uses those exact words. You'll be dead to me. Who says that to their own child over a party invitation? The worst part? She brings up my dad leaving when I was 15. Like, somehow that was my fault too. Like me being a teenager with depression and anxiety was what drove him away, not her constant need to control everything and everyone around her. I just stared at my phone for a while. Not even mad at first, just tired, I guess. This is just how she is. She's always been like this, especially since my dad left. I think she blames me for that, even though I was like 15 when it happened. She's always needed someone to be the scapegoat, and I'm the only one who doesn't just roll over and take it. I didn't reply immediately. I just left it on read while I sat there processing what had just happened. My hands were literally shaking as I read through her message again, trying to figure out if this was really my life, or if I'd somehow fallen into some twisted alternate reality where parents demand thousands of dollars from their children, while simultaneously telling them they're worthless. I figured maybe she'd cool off after a few hours, or maybe she'd just forget about it entirely like she sometimes does with her dramatic outbursts. But then, like clockwork, my Uncle Robert calls me. The man has never called me just to chat in his entire life, so I knew this wasn't going to be a friendly conversation. I almost didn't pick up, but curiosity got the better of me. He's always been the family enforcer, the one who steps in when my mom wants to make a point but doesn't want to do the dirty work herself. Think of him as the muscle in this dysfunctional family operation. He starts off with this fake concerned tone, asking how I'm doing, if I'm settling in well to my new apartment. Which is hilarious because I moved like 4 months ago, and literally nobody from the family has visited. Not once. They haven't even asked for my new address. But now suddenly he cares about my living situation? Then he transitions into the real reason for his call, and his voice completely changes. Becomes all serious and authoritative like he's delivering some kind of official family decree. He says that if I don't pay the money by midnight, and he emphasizes midnight like we're in some kind of Cinderella story, the entire family is going to block me. Not just my mom, not just Ryan, but literally everyone. Aunts, uncles, cousins, the whole extended family network. He says they've all discussed it and agreed that this is the final line in the sand. That I should think really hard about what kind of son I want to be, and what kind of legacy I want to leave. Like, bro, we're talking about a graduation party, not my deathbed confession. When I ask him point blank if I'm even invited to this party that I'm apparently supposed to fund, he hits me with this gem. Don't make this about you. This is about family unity and supporting each other. The hypocrisy was so thick I could practically taste it through the phone. Support each other? Where was this family unity when I was struggling to pay rent last year and asked for help? Where was this support when I was dealing with anxiety and depression and just needed someone to listen? I didn't even bother arguing with him. I just hung up the phone mid-sentence while he was launching into some speech about family obligations and respect. I sat there for what felt like hours, just staring at my phone screen. The notifications kept coming. My cousin Taylor commenting heart emojis on every single one of Ryan's party countdown posts. My Aunt Beth sharing some inspirational quote about family being everything on Facebook. My mom posting some passive-aggressive status about people who only take and never give back. It was like watching this choreographed social media performance where everyone in my family was participating in this big celebration of Ryan, while simultaneously making it clear that I wasn't welcome to be part of it. But somehow, I was still expected to fund it. I started to feel that familiar knot in my stomach, the same feeling I used to get as a kid, when I'd accidentally break something and know I was about to get in massive trouble. That old instinct kicked in, the one that whispered, maybe you should just pay it. Maybe you should just keep the peace. Maybe they're right and you really are being selfish. For about 10 minutes, I actually considered it. I opened my banking app and looked at my savings account. I had the money, barely, but it was there. I'd been saving up for a vacation, maybe a weekend trip somewhere nice where I could just relax and not think about family drama for a few days. But then I really thought about it. What would I actually get out of paying $2,400? I'm not invited to the party. I'm not wanted there. I'm not even acknowledged as part of the family anymore, except when they need money. I'd literally be paying for the privilege of being excluded from an event celebrating my own brother. And let's be real, this isn't the first time. I've always been the one who bails people out financially. When Ryan forgot his wallet at dinner, and I covered a $150 check. When my cousin Taylor needed help with her car payment, and I sent her $300 that I never saw again. When the family wanted to rent that beach house last summer and needed someone to cover the security deposit up front, surprise, that was me too. And did I get to use the beach house? Of course. Not. They said there wasn't enough room for me that weekend. I've been the family's unofficial financial backup plan for years, and I've never gotten so much as a thank you. Just more demands and more guilt trips when I dare to question why I'm always the one expected to open my wallet. So I did something I've never done before. I blocked my mom. I blocked my uncle. I blocked Ryan, Taylor, Beth, all of them. I just went down the list and blocked every single one. I even blocked the family group chat, even though I'm not in it anymore, just for good measure. I felt not good exactly, but lighter. Like I finally did something for myself. Then, like 10 minutes later, I get a knock on my door. My heart literally stopped for a second, because I thought it might be my Uncle Robert showing up to continue his intimidation tactics in person. I look through the peephole and it's my neighbor Sarah, thank God. She just wanted to borrow my vacuum cleaner because hers broke. I let her in, and she immediately notices something's wrong. Are you okay? You look really upset, and your hands are shaking. I just laughed, this bitter, exhausted laugh, and said, family stuff. She totally gets it because she's dealing with her own family drama involving her parents trying to control her dating life. We talk for a few minutes about how families can be the most toxic people in your life while simultaneously expecting unconditional loyalty. And honestly, it helped just to have someone validate that this situation was as insane as it felt. After she leaves, I sit back down on my couch and I start really thinking, not just about tonight, but about everything. About all the ways I've helped them out over the years, all the financial emergencies I've solved, all the times I've covered for Ryan when he screwed up, all the family expenses I've subsidized without question. I grab my laptop and start making an actual list because I want to see the full scope of what I'm dealing with. And guys, the list is long. Like, really long. There's a family phone plan that I set up 3 years ago because I had the best credit score. I'm paying for 6 lines, including my parents' phones, Ryan's phone, and even my Aunt Beth's phone. Monthly cost, $180. The streaming services are all under my accounts too. Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, HBO Max, Spotify Premium Family Plan because apparently I'm the family's entertainment provider. Monthly cost, around $65. Then there are the bigger things. The group payments for family events that somehow always go through my cards. Last summer's beach house rental where I put down the $1,500 security deposit and never got reimbursed. The deposit for Ryan's graduation party venue. Yeah, that's right. I already put money down for this party 6 months ago when they first booked. I start digging deeper into my email and bank statements, and I discover things I'd completely forgotten about. I'm still paying for Ryan's roadside assistance because it was easier to add him to my plan than for him to get his own. I'm listed as a backup payment method for my parents' mortgage because they had some credit issues a few years back. The more I look, the more I realize that my family's entire financial ecosystem basically runs through me. I'm not just a wallet, I'm the central bank of the family economy. And they've been taking advantage of this for so long that they probably don't even realize how dependent they are on my money. I start thinking about how they just expect me to keep paying, to keep showing up emotionally and financially, even when they treat me like absolute garbage. And I start to get mad. Like, really mad. Not just at them, but at myself for letting this toxic dynamic continue for so long. But here's the thing that really pushed me over the edge. I realize that while they're perfectly happy to use my money and my credit score and my financial stability, they don't actually want me. They want my resources, but not my presence. They want my wallet, but not my opinions. They want my support, but not my company. I'm like some kind of estranged family member who's only valuable for what I can provide financially, and the moment I ask for basic respect or inclusion, I'm told I'm being selfish and entitled. So I did something I've never done before in my entire life. I started blocking them, one by one. I blocked my mom first, and let me tell you, hitting that block button felt like breaking free from chains I didn't even realize I was wearing. Then my uncle Robert. Then Ryan, even though it hurt because despite everything, he's still my little brother. Then I went down the list and blocked Taylor, Beth, everyone who had been part of this coordinated pressure campaign against me. I even went to the family group chat that I'm not even in anymore and blocked it just for good measure, because I'm petty like that. When I finished, I felt not good exactly, but like I'd finally done something for myself instead of constantly sacrificing my peace of mind for people who don't even like me. For the first time in months, my phone wasn't buzzing with guilt trips and demands and passive-aggressive comments. It was quiet, and the quiet felt like freedom. The next morning, I woke up feeling surprisingly well-rested for someone who had just nuked their entire family relationship the night before. But that peace lasted about 5 minutes, because when I checked my phone, I had 6 missed calls from my mom, 2 from my uncle, and about 15 text messages from Ryan, all sent between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. Since I'd blocked them, the calls went straight to a blocked voicemail folder, and the text showed up as message requests that I could see, but they didn't know I'd seen. Classic move. They probably thought I was ignoring them, which was only making them more frantic. I didn't answer any of them. Instead, I just sat there eating my morning cereal, watching the message requests pile up in real time. It was all the same recycled guilt trip material. How could you do this to your own family? You're ruining everything over money. Ryan is devastated. We never thought you'd be this selfish. The entitlement was honestly breathtaking. Even after everything that happened, they still couldn't understand why I might be upset about being called a failure who should never have been born, then being demanded to pay thousands of dollars for a party I wasn't invited to. But then I noticed something weird. Around 9 a.m., I got a notification from my bank app about a transaction I didn't recognize. Someone had charged $347 to my old credit card, the one I rarely use anymore, for party supplies from some event planning store I'd never heard of. My blood pressure spiked instantly. I logged into my account and saw that my mom was still listed as an authorized user on that card. I'd added her years ago during some family emergency and just never removed her. And now she was using it to buy party decorations, just assuming I'd pay for it and not notice, or that I'd be too embarrassed to dispute it. That was the moment I realized they weren't just entitled, they were actively stealing from me now. This wasn't about family obligation anymore. This was financial abuse. I immediately called the bank, disputed the charge, and froze the card. When the representative asked if I wanted to remove the authorized user, I said absolutely, and I want it noted in my account that any future attempts to add her should be denied. Then I texted my mom, just one line. Stop using my credit card. Short, direct, no room for misinterpretation. She didn't reply, which told me everything I needed to know about her level of remorse. I started going through my notes from last night, looking at all the stuff I'm still tied to. It's honestly wild how much of their life is still running through me. I'm not even talking about just the streaming stuff. I mean the real stuff. Group payments, deposits, the venue for Ryan's party. I remembered that when they booked the place, they needed someone with good enough credit to put down the deposit. Guess who they called? Me. I did it because my mom said it was just temporary, and she'd handle the rest. That was like 6 months ago. I never got taken off. I checked my email, and sure enough, I'm still listed as the main contact for the venue. So I called them. I just said I needed to confirm the details for the event, and the lady was super chill. I asked if my name was still on the contract, and she said, yeah, you're the primary contact. I asked if I could remove myself, and she said, as long as the other party signs off, it's no problem. I said I'd get back to her. I didn't want to tip my hand yet, but now I knew for sure. I started going through my bank app, looking at all the group payments I've made for family stuff. There's a bunch. Last summer's beach house, the deposit for the party, even some old stuff for Ryan's car insurance. I realized I'm still paying for his roadside assistance, which is honestly hilarious. I texted him, hey, you might want to get your own coverage. I'm canceling mine. He left me on read. Classic, Ryan. I started pulling out of everything. I canceled the roadside assistance. I took my name off the group payment for party decorations, which I never even agreed to in the first place. And I emailed the venue again, this time seeing my mom and uncle, saying I'd like to be removed from the contract, and that I'm not responsible for any further payments. I kept it super dry. No drama, just facts. About an hour later, my phone starts blowing up. First it's my mom, then my uncle, then Ryan. I don't answer. Then I get a text from my Aunt Beth, who's always been the peacekeeper, but really just likes to stir the pot. She says I'm being selfish and that I'm ruining Ryan's big day. I reply, I'm not paying for a party I'm not invited to. She sends back a paragraph about family obligations and how I'm hurting everyone. I just mute her. Then my uncle shows up at my apartment. I hear him before I see him, just banging on the door like he owns the place. I open it a crack, and he tries to push his way in. I block him with my foot and tell him to chill. He starts going off about how I'm embarrassing the family, and how I owe them for everything they've done for me. I tell him I'm not paying for a party I'm not even invited to, and he gets in my face. Like, actually nose to nose. I tell him to back up, and he shoves me. I shove him back harder. He stumbles and slams his hand against the wall. He starts yelling, and my neighbor comes out into the hall, just watching. I tell my uncle to leave or I'll call the building manager. He slams the door on his way out. I text my landlord just to give him a heads up in case my uncle tries anything. He says he'll keep an eye out. Then, I remembered something else. Ryan's car insurance is still tied to my account. So I call and remove myself. I text him, get your own insurance. He doesn't reply. I start getting texts from random family members. Some saying I'm being cruel, others saying they get it. My cousin Taylor says she's on my side, but she's not getting involved. I get it. Nobody wants to be in the middle of this mess. The venue calls me. They still need a new primary contact, and if they don't get one by the end of the day, they'll have to cancel the booking. I forward the email to my mom and uncle. No comment. I could just picture them scrambling, trying to figure out who could step up. I know for a fact my uncle's credit is trash, and my mom's isn't much better. Ryan's never even had a real bill in his name. Then Ryan calls me. I almost don't answer, but I do, just to see what he'll say. He starts off all fake nice, asking if I'm okay and if I really want to do this. I tell him I'm not paying for his party, and he says I'm making a scene. I ask him if he even wanted me there, and he just goes quiet. Then he says, Mom said you'd pay. You always do. I just hang up. I start getting bills in the mail for stuff I never agreed to. Party supplies, decorations, even a bounce house rental. I call every company, tell them I'm not responsible, send them copies of the emails where I pulled out. Most of them are understanding, they just say they'll go after whoever signed the contract. I know my mom and uncle are going to be dealing with that for a while. 2 days before the party was supposed to happen, I get a call from the venue manager. She says the booking's officially canceled since nobody stepped up to take over the contract, or pay the balance. She sounds annoyed but not surprised. I just say, thanks for letting me know. I check my email and see a string of messages from my mom and uncle, all sent in the middle of the night, all basically begging me to fix it. I don't reply. I just archive them. The next day, I get a text from Ryan. It's the first time he's messaged me directly since this all started. He says the party's off, people are upset, and he wants to know if I'm happy now. I just reply, you should have thought about that before you tried to use me. He leaves me on read. I start hearing from people I haven't talked to in years. My Aunt Beth calls, says she's disappointed in me, that I let the family down. I tell her I'm not paying for a party I wasn't even invited to. She says I should have just done the right thing. I hang up. The day the party was supposed to happen, I get a knock on my door. It's my neighbor again, asking if I'm okay because she saw my mom in the hallway earlier looking upset. I just say family stuff, and she nods. I scroll through my phone and see Ryan's friends posting about change of plans and party canceled. I almost feel bad, but then I remember the Venmo request, the insults, the way they all just expected me to pay up and shut up. That night I get a call from a number I don't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. It's my uncle again, saying I'm dead to the family and that nobody wants anything to do with me. I block the number. I get a Facebook message from my mom, just one line, you'll regret this. I block her too. The fallout isn't just online though. I hear from a couple of old friends who are still in touch with some of the family. Apparently my mom tried to get a last-minute venue, but nobody would take her without a deposit. The caterer refused to show up without payment. Ryan tried to throw something at a friend's house, but half the people bailed. I guess word got around about what happened, because a few people messaged me saying they had no idea my family was like that. I just say, yeah, me neither until now. I start getting bills in the mail for stuff I never agreed to. Party supplies, decorations, even a bounce house rental. I call every company, tell them I'm not responsible, send them copies of the emails where I pulled out. Most of them are understanding. They just say they'll go after whoever signed the contract. I know my mom and uncle are going to be dealing with that for a while. I get a text from Ryan, just one word, thanks. I don't reply. I spend the next week just living. I go to the gym, hang out with friends, watch dumb shows. I don't check my family's social media. I don't answer unknown numbers. I start to feel like I can breathe again, like I'm not waiting for the next demand or guilt trip. Then out of nowhere, I get a letter in the mail. It's from my mom. It's not an apology, obviously. It's just a list of everything she thinks I owe the family, all the ways I've let them down. I read it once, then toss it in the trash. The real kicker is that nobody's come to my door since. No more surprise visits, no more yelling in the hallway, no more slaps or shoves. It's just quiet. I know some people would say I should feel bad or try to fix things, but I don't. I did what I had to do. I'm not their backup plan anymore. I'm not their wallet. I'm not their scapegoat. If they want to block me forever, fine. I'll block them first. I know this isn't some perfect ending. I'm not magically healed. I'm not suddenly happy. I'm just done. And honestly, that's enough for me. I've been thinking about what my neighbor said that first night. Are you okay? You look upset. I realized I'd been upset for years. Constantly walking on eggshells. Constantly trying to prove I was worthy of basic respect. Constantly paying for the privilege of being treated like garbage. Now, I wake up and don't check my phone for angry messages. I don't worry about surprise bills or guilt trips. I don't calculate how much money I'll need to keep the peace this month. For the first time in years, I'm just existing. Not performing, not proving, not paying. Just existing. And you know what? It feels pretty good. I don't know if I'll ever talk to them again, but I know I'm not going back. Not after this. Sometimes the only way to win is to stop playing the game entirely. The funny thing is, they always said I was selfish. Turns out they were right. I finally chose myself. And I'd do it again, in a heartbeat. It's been 3 months now. Complete radio silence from the family. I heard through a mutual friend that they had to call off most of their summer plans because their usual financial backup, guess who, wasn't available. My stress levels are the lowest they've been in years. I've actually started dating someone new. Someone who thinks it's weird when families demand money with threats. Imagine that. I've saved more money in 3 months than I usually do in a year. Sometimes I wonder if I was too harsh. But then I remember that Venmo request, and the words "you should never have been born." And I remember exactly why I made the choice I did. To anyone dealing with family who treats you like a human ATM, you don't owe anyone access to your wallet just because you share DNA. Set your boundaries and stick to them. The people who truly love you will respect them. The people who don't, well, now you know where you really stand. Thanks for reading, Reddit. Sometimes you need strangers on the internet to tell you that you're not crazy for refusing to fund your own abuse.